Good day to all and welcome to the first of this High Performance Board series straight out of the IMD Global Board Center. Today, I have the pleasure of welcoming Michel Demaré, leading director of large cap boards and chairman of the Supervisory Board of IMD. Governance has become a key driver of performance. Our studies show that the top 20% of the US stock market have beaten the index by 10%. Michel, you're on the board of some of the key industries in this crisis. During these special times, what do you say makes a great board member?
Good morning, Didier. A very classical quality that I would expect first from a board member today is experience. When crisis hits, I think you need to be able to count on people who have gone through crisis before, have gone through the lessons learned exercise, either as an executive or as an entrepreneur or as a board member. And in fact, I would even go a bit against the governance experts who say people should not be on too many boards. When you have a COVID-19 crisis, which is global and which is affecting all the sectors of activity, I think having some board members that sit on many different boards and can share experience and share lessons learned, it's invaluable. I think a new big trend that we need from board members now is a sense of purpose. It is clear that nowadays, it's no more just about next quarter's top line growth and next quarter's earning per share. We have to look at it in a bigger perspective and really make sure that all the stakeholders are properly addressed. I would say today with COVID-19 crisis, the health of our employees, the health of our customers, the impact that our company can have for the society is maybe as important, in fact, than just the next quarter financial results.
This is excellent, and I fully agree. In my new book, High Performance Boards, I look actually at the people, the board members themselves, as the first pillar of quality governance. But as you say, well, this quality today is also based on values and the sense of purpose that comes with these values. And so we have a transformation in some ways of what I would call mechanical governance towards something that is more values-based, stewardship-oriented. It's also intriguing then that maybe what's at the heart of quality directorship is a sense of accountability and responsibility.
We're all in this together. It is also the moment that you have to show a lot of commitment. What maybe was a mandate that were presented to you as a 20% maybe time occupation can quickly become 50% in a case like this. And people need to be able to give that, to be available, because there is a high sense of urgency now to address the crisis and make sure the company survives.
Thank you, Michel. So if you look at the chair now, what are the additional qualities to be a great chair, would you say?
I think the most important is that you have to be prepared for a crisis. If the crisis hits and that you are not prepared, it's too late. You can't even try to fix it. So important first is put together a good board team that has all the qualities that I described before and that really works as a team. And the second one that I would put very high on my list is prepare communication. It is really important that you have your networks in place with the media organization, with politicians, with social actors, and that you really have everything ready to make the adequate communication, both externally and internally, because transparency is key when you try to handle a crisis. So that is extremely important. The rest is a bit the job description of the chair, is making sure that you are the glue between the executive team and the supervisory team. The best way to do that is to first make sure that we unanimously agree on what we are trying to achieve.
Excellent. So clarity of roles and objectives, the quality also of the relationship with the CEO and with the executive team, the communication with the stakeholders. So you've stressed, the preparedness, right? Which I'm amazed how at IMD for the last 15 years we've been telling boards to always prepare for a crisis, right? Because, 40% drop in revenue can happen to any company, right? I mean, the exceptionality of today's time is that it happens to so many companies together. And the level of preparedness was not so equal, I would say. I'm still impressed that many boards did not have crisis preparation exercises. What do you see as the challenges of the post-crisis time or the near-term, medium-term for boards?
The last 2-3 years, there's so many new issues that have come up. The first one is obviously responsibility, corporate responsibility. That's something that as companies we wanted to do since a long while. I think that what was missing a little bit was the buy-in of the investment community. Past, it was nice to say, oh, we have all these sustainability targets, but at the end, if you missed your next quarter earnings performance, you didn't have much time to implement your sustainability targets. The investment community, institutional investment community has changed quite a lot with that. And I think now we get sometimes to another extreme that they start excluding investing in companies that don't have a sustainability agenda. So that is great. The second, and that one I think is even made worse now with the COVID crisis, is the whole area of social inequality. And I think that is a very sensitive subject that if we don't apprehend that the right way in the coming years might really become a time bomb, I think. And even private corporations have to be extremely sensitive to this topic. And I think it starts impacting most of your decision to pay dividend, decision to make share buyback, executive compensation decisions. You have to do it with the sensitivity of mind of how will people react, how can we justify it, and what role can we play in society to try to help a little bit bridge the gap of the social inequalities, which I believe have actually got even bigger since COVID-19 started. So you cannot, as a director, ignore that.
I would link that to the asset owner's perspective, right? Because this is a rise of stewardship. And as you know well, we at IMD have started working on this 6 years ago, and it has become a major topic, right? How do we go towards a long term with positive social impact?
Third aspect is obviously the whole digital. It doesn't mean that we need to have half of the board being digital geeks, but we need to have people who can ask the right questions and are also intellectually willing to invest in that space. And I think the best is actually to support the board, maybe with having an advisory board of digital experts. And obviously with digital comes cybersecurity risk. And then the last one I would point out in terms of new development is, again, I speak a lot about communication, but I think it's very important. Communication has totally changed in the last years. Social media, you need to properly master that 24/7 news network that will always look for new information. And so we really need to master that very well and make sure the message of the company is consistent, is addressing all the stakeholders, so that the reputation is really at its best.
I would add simply deglobalization and the new priorities, right, of national versus regional versus continental, and then global becoming lesser priority somehow. It's quite impressive, that transformation and all the geopolitics that come with it when board members don't have that much geopolitical knowledge often.
No, and that's why we come back to the aspect of diversity. You need to make sure that you have a board that represents the different cultures and different parts of the world. Maybe a lot of companies had become too dependent on a couple of country in their supply chain. And what you will see now is that we will start diversifying that again, and will maybe give also some opportunities, for instance, for European countries in becoming again the domestic supplier of choice.
I want to thank you for this excellent perspectives and discussion and this exchange that was so rich.
Didier, thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Michel.